I'm on YouTube. It's being recorded.
Okay, welcome everyone. Just want to say hello and welcome to all of our Amherst community members, and we thank you for joining us today. My name is Brianna Sunren. I'm the communications manager for the town, and we have Fire Chief Nelson here with us today. And excuse me for that. And Amherst Town
We can
Manager.
see you're typing.
Yes, I'm multitasking, folks. So I just want to remind everybody that this is being recorded. So please refrain from asking any personally identifying health questions today. In this webinar, to ask a question from the Zoom application, click the Q&A button to type in your question. It will only be visible to us as the hosts. Additionally, if you'd like to join the conversation and speak, please use the Zoom raise hand button or press *9 if you're joining us from a telephone, and we'll pull you into the room. We ask that you introduce yourself before speaking and to maintain a civil discourse. So today joining us, we have Amherst Fire Chief and Emergency Management Director, Tim Nelson. Welcome to you both.
Hey.
Before we launch into Q&A, I'm just going to give the town manager a chance to give any status updates he might have.
Great. Thanks, Brianna. So I'm Paul Bachman, the town manager, and thank you for joining us today. Don't have a lot of updates because I know Tim has a lot to talk about, and he talks a lot about everything he talks about. So
come on, really?
and appreciate you taking the time to join us. A couple things that we do want to talk about is that we're waiting, a lot of talk about reopening town government or town businesses. We really try to align ourselves with the state and what the governor is talking about. We're waiting for him to make some pronouncements. That might happen today, might happen tomorrow. Right now, the May 4th, which is next Monday, is the date that has been the target date. My assumption is that will be extended. And so sort of that'll be something that'll be of keen interest to a lot of us, and to know which way he's going, so we can align our tasks with him, with what the state government is doing. Also, as the weather starts to get warm up, we'll have a lot more people out there. This weekend should be pretty warm. We're monitoring all of our facilities, especially Puffer's Pond, as we move forward. Right now, we haven't closed off the road. We are considering limiting parking near Puffer's Pond. Puffer's Pond is closed to sort of sedentary activities. You can walk through, you can use the trails, you can do solitary fishing, things like that. But as the weather starts to warm, we'll be adjusting our policies on outside recreation as we deem best for the town and for the public health. So with that, I think it's really going to be Tim's show.
Oh, really? Thanks. Well, good afternoon. I hope everyone's doing well. That thing that you see out there is the sun. So that strange yellow orb. So I just a couple things. Just start with I know folks are curious if we had any COVID positive cases in the town, and yes we have, but nothing too serious. I think that's a testament to the fact that folks are taking this virus seriously, and that's a good thing. It is so insidious that there are going to be folks that are going to get this in spite of doing all that we can to stave it off. But people are doing the right thing. Staying home while washing their hands, social distancing. I see it all over the place, and we're wearing masks when you're going to be in a close encounter with people. Those simple things are really going to do a lot to protect you and everyone around you. I mean, I can't say enough about that. And again, and I mean, our concerns really right now are our most vulnerable populations. That's going to be our elders for the most part, and nursing homes, assisted living facilities that we have in town. And I have to say that they've all done a stellar job at protecting their residents, whether it be through hyper cleaning, restrictions on access to the building, where we're wearing the proper personal protective equipment across the board. They've done, as I said, a stellar job at taking care of their people and taking care of each other. So.
Great, thank you for
Yeah.
that update, Chief.
Sure.
We've got a list of questions that have come in, and if you guys are ready, we can launch in.
Certainly.
All right, so the first question is for Chief Nelson. How is your team holding up during this time, emotionally, physically?
Interesting question. We are a reflection of society as a whole, and we're doing well. I mean, one of the interesting things that we've become a younger department, which means we have a lot of our members have young kids at home, and like everyone else, they've gained a newfound respect for teachers. Let me tell you. So, and they're going through the same things that everyone else is, trying to balance work, school, child care, and trying to work that out at home. And also the fact that we've all kind of been thrown off our schedules. We're not used to being with our loved ones as much as we are, so that takes a little bit of adapting to. I might say I've never seen firefighters more excited about coming to work as I've seen it in the last couple months. But they're doing well, holding up well. We're doing a lot more in terms of checking in on folks to make sure that all our needs are met, and we're just kind of, again, keeping a close eye to make sure that everyone's okay, and at the same time to let folks know it's okay not to be okay, and we can fix we can address that. But again, that we're doing well, and again, our focus is on taking care of the public, and this is a strange time, a different time, but they're focused on what is important, which is taking care of all of you, all of us.
No, that's an important message, I think, for everybody to hear. I'm going to remind our attendees, if you want to ask a question, please use the Q&A button in the Zoom application, raise your hand in the Zoom application, or press *9 from the phone. So we've got another question here. What's it like with UMass being closed? Do you notice a difference in your call volume at all?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. I mean, what's happened is there's probably 20 to 25,000 people who are not there, and that as in itself is going to cause our call volume to go down, and it has significantly. And it's not, folks like say, well, you don't have those drunk students around anymore, but it's not just that. It's not really that. It's just a function of that many people here, and people drive around. They have car accidents. They fall down. They get sick, and that's where most of our calls from UMass come from. So without that, yes, our call volume is down significantly. Sure.
Someone wants to know what it is behind your head on your wall.
My head. That is a propeller, and there's a photo of an F-15 Eagle fighter jet. I'm a pilot. I've been a pilot for 30 some years. So my wife got me the propeller for Christmas a few years back. And the photo is it's a good friend of mine flying the jet, and I was flying the photo plane. We were up in the White Mountains doing we're doing that was in Air Force magazine a few years back. So I got to fly the photo show. So, and he's a really good friend. So.
A man of many talents.
I do okay. I do okay. And I got to have to say, I also he's such a good friend. He got me a flight in an F-15 a few years back, and I got to fly it. I actually got to fly the jet. So that's my claim to fame, I guess.
That's what they told you.
Trust me. Trust me. It was good. We got the dog fight, and we didn't lose the fight. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then the next question is,
Yeah.
how do you think Amherst is handling this situation compared to other communities in the Commonwealth or other communities in the area?
I think we're doing well, and part of that is we prepared early. I mean, as early as you could. We first began to hear about this back in first part of the latter part of January, and we just heard, just that this thing was coming and all that, and just we took steps for one thing to order personal protective equipment early. Because as we talked about this, it just seemed like this is going to grow. It's going to get worse. So we said we need to reach out, build up our stock just in case the rest of the world starts to do the same thing. So that put us in a good spot. We took steps early to restrict access to our building. We did that early on. We took a higher protective stance with our personnel as they went out to respond. We were wearing more personal protective equipment, PPE. We did that early on. So, and one of the things is, what we found is people, they may be sick, and they may have been sick for a week or so with flu type symptoms. But if they broken an ankle, they're more concerned about that when they make that call. So to protect our folks, we started wearing our PPE early on. I think compared to other towns in the area, I think we're doing well. We haven't had any of our personnel come up positive for this. We only had to quarantine 2 people just as a precaution, and none of them were positive. So and anecdotally, I hear throughout our area, other towns are having some issues with that. So that is just bad luck, But for us, I think we took an affirmative and a proactive step to protect all our personnel. So right now we're doing well, and I would think we're going to continue to do well at that.
I noticed that, Tim, early on you were sending your paramedics out in full protective gear. Like,
right.
People call it hazmat suits, but they're really the word we've heard is PPE.
Right.
Personal protection equipment. And I thought, wow, why are they doing it so early? But really, you had already thought about force protection, which is maintain our crews have to stay healthy so they can serve the citizens and residents of Amherst.
Right.
And that if one person were to be catch COVID-19, the whole crew would have to be out. And so losing, having exposure was a really dangerous thing. And that's why I really admired your early decision to have people, have the paramedics going out in full PPE. And I think it was a little off-putting to some of our citizens to show up because you have a hurt leg or something like that. But they don't know. And when you walk into the house, you don't know. So that foresight was really important to hear.
And we were quite questioned about that at first, and then of course it came out that you can be asymptomatic, but still infect people. So we wanted to make sure that in an abundance of caution, that we took those steps to protect our folks. As I've said, well, for years, you know, in order for us to take care of the folks out there, we need to take care of ourselves. And if we protect ourselves, it means we're better able to protect and take care of the folks that we serve.
Mhm.
So that, and as I said, you know, a person may have been ill for a week or so, but if they, you know, break an arm, break a leg, that's what they're going to be focused on. They may not tell us when we arrive, oh, I've had the flu for a week, or I've had these symptoms, because they're more concerned about that particular thing. So, and that's, again, you know, yeah, at first I think it was off putting, but in the end, it means we're going to be able to protect people.
How is the town doing now with PPE? Do we have enough?
Yeah, we're doing well. We're doing very well. I got to admit, you know, there's pressure, a lot of pressure worldwide on all these vendors. But I believe that because we started early, we got out ahead of the curve, and we've got some great vendors. So our supply stream is good. And yeah, it has slowed down some, but because we began early, I mean, again, we got out ahead of the curve, so we have a buffer, and our plan was to plan for the worst, to plan for an overwhelming amount of calls and transports and that type of thing. And we just began, and we just pushed out as far as we could, and we're still doing that. The fact that the state has come up with a distribution system that works well, that has helped us as well to fill in any gaps we may see in the future. So.
It's really interesting because it's like a military campaign where you have to lay out your supply lines and make sure you have your supplies, and you started early so that when you put an order in now and they say it's back ordered for a month, that's you can handle that, because you have I'm not sure, several weeks worth of supply on hand. If I mean, the question we talk about every day when we meet is, if supplies were to be cut off today, how long would we last? And you've got multiple weeks out there.
We're right now. I mean, we inventory our supplies at least every 5 to 6 days, and then checked out, and we project what our rate of use is going to be as well.
Called the burn rate. Right?
It's called a burn rate. So right now we've got approximately 4 to 45 days worth of supplies if our supply chain stopped right now. So again, that goes back to, you know, I've got some great folks who are working here who could project out and we're forward thinking and said, you know, we need to do this. So that's why we're in a good spot now. So.
We have a question that just came in through our info email account from Rich. He's asking, even though case count of COVID is low in Amherst, has the town considered requiring facial coverings or masks in downtown area where it is difficult to remain 6 feet away from each other?
It's a great question. It's something that we talk a lot about. It's really a call ultimately for the health director, or Julie Fetterman, who is our health director. You see some communities have required facial coverings, a cloth facial covering specifically at all times. I think Somerville went for a mandatory. If you're outside, you need a facial covering. We have not done that. And I think the health director is aligning our policy with the Centers for Disease Control and the Mass Department of Public Health, saying that it's recommended, it's advised, but it's not required. The key piece in her mind, and I think in our mind, is that social distancing is the key public health safety measure. And if you can't achieve social distancing, then that's the time to have a cloth mask on or something. I mean, I think we all probably have. I have my cloth mask, you know, we can put it on. Oh, that must have been loud. And you've got yours, and I think we're actually starting a campaign with our community participation officers to have people create or make cloth masks, helps to distribute them to people who might not have access to cloth masks otherwise. But as in terms of the question, we don't require them at this point in time. It's something that we take into consideration, and we'll continue to look at the science of the matter. And if it becomes something that where our health experts say this is something we should be doing, we will certainly adjust that policy.
Great,
So,
thank you. Oh.
Something I wanted to add quick as we were talking about the supplies. You know, if things were to get hectic, and we were in our activity level went way up, specifically because of the virus. I wanted folks to know that we've got a pretty robust mutual aid plan in place throughout the county. You may have seen a few weeks ago, this city of Springfield, Ag, Guam, along the Meadow, Westfield, they came up with a mutual aid pact, and so which is good. But we've had this pact in place for years, just for something like this. So you know, the plan is already there. So if one, two, or three towns have an inordinate amount of pressure put upon them, we have other towns that can come in and support them. And that's something that's been in place for a very long time. I just wanted to make that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I have a question that I guess would be for either of you, both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there things that we can do as a community to help out?
You know, well, I'll say, yeah. Well, I'll say, you know what? One thing is keep doing what you're doing. It's beginning to get nice out. You know, some of the news outlets are saying that the trend is beginning to plateau and that type of thing. Thing is, we can't get complacent. You still need to enforce this social distancing piece. Wearing a mask, while washing hands, all those things. We still need to do those types of things to protect ourselves and protect everyone else. So I guess it's, you know, I think Dr. Fauci said, don't take your foot off the gas right now. So
yeah, I think that we're all feeling a little sense of I want this to be over already. I want to get back to normal. I want my kids to go back to school and all those things. Kids are not going to go back to school this year. But when the weather starts to turn and we get tired of all these, you know, the stay-at-home restrictions, I think that's really going to be hard for folks to sort of internalize. And we're just, you know, ready to get back to work and see each other again and socialize. And I think I agree with Tim, is that this is not the time to do that. You know, when you look at the numbers at the state, they say that we're plateauing. We hope that we are, but it's just at the very peak now, and we want to see that go down for, you know, multiple days in a row in terms of hospitalizations, so that we make sure that it truly is going down. And so if we sort of let up now, and I fear that it's too soon, and then we're going to have another resurgence, and we don't want that to happen. But I think that's the biggest fear. And again, the message has not changed from the very beginning. Stay home, wash your hands. Those are the two things that people can do, and limit your exposure to other people. And it's really hard to do, but I think people have been really phenomenal at making that happen so far, and just really credit everybody in town and also in the whole state that has really worked hard to make that happen.
You know, one thing that I ascribe to is write the end of the story first, and then you figure out, how do I get there? And then so instead of thinking, oh, I've got all these obstacles to get to the end, you've already written the end of that story, where we need to be, and then you just figure out how are you going to get there. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of a way to look at this.
Great, thank you both. So we are reaching the end of our time. Before I have the closing remarks, do either of you have any parting wisdom or things that you want to share that you didn't get asked today? Wisdom time.
Do I let the boss go first, or let the boss go?
I think it's you go, Tim.
Okay. Just a couple of things. If you're sick or ill or feeling out of sorts, don't be afraid to call your primary care. Don't be afraid to call a doc. One of the things that we found is that folks seem to have this fear about going to a hospital or going to see a doctor. So then by the time they call us, they're very, very sick. So don't wait on seeking help or getting or calling your doc. The hospitals have plans in place to take care of things that are non-COVID related. They can deal with that. The last thing I would say is let's continue to help each other out. That's what a community does. I mean, when things are at their worst, we tend to be at our best, and it's help each other out, look out for each other. You could do in terms of grocery shopping. Check with your neighbors on what they might need. That's not just a nice thing. That will cut down on the number of people that are out and about and going to the stores, and then you reduce your the amount of possible exposures. So that's what I was saying, and really just let's just take care of each other. We'll get through this, and we'll be better for it.
And I just add, it's, Tim was a great athlete as a young person, not commenting now, but
hey.
but we have a great team for the town. So it's been a privilege to work with such a great team. And I think, just this group here that you're seeing today really reflects that. But also that we have, full force of police, fire, paramedics, dispatchers on duty 24 hours a day, ready to respond. If there are any issues that you need, we're there to respond to it. Call 911 and we'll be there. And so that's all I have to add.
Great. So I just have some logistics here to share. We will be continuing to do this for the next couple of weeks, Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon. This Thursday, April 30th, we'll be with our health director, Julie Fetterman. And coming up on May 8th, we'll have another virtual Cup of Joe. Friday, May 8th from 8 to 9 with Paul and a couple of special guests that we'll have coming in and out of that session. So thank you both. Thank you, Chief, for your time.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Tim.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Stay safe.
All right.
Everybody.
Be good, guys. Peace.
Bye.